Hi everyone, it's Phil Ellison, one of the coaches at Total Try Training. Just back from the pool. Pools have just reopened following the latest COVID lockdown, which is great. Some work to be done, but at least we can get started on that again now. So if you are starting to get back into your swimming, good luck with that, and do your best to get it back to where it was over the next couple of months. Little video now just to show you how to edit and clean up some of your data in Training Peaks if you know there's some erroneous or poor quality data within some of your training sessions. As we know, a lot of the data that we look to analyze at the back end after you've done your training sessions and to decide upon, how to move forward, how to progress. It really relies on good quality data going in the first instance. And obviously we can have problems with some of the metrics that we measure. Particularly heart rate can be notoriously difficult, and it can sometimes have some blips within it. Now, obviously, if we then analyze it based on the poor quality of data, then we can jump to conclusions that are not really valid. So I'm just going to take you over to Training Peaks to show you how you can possibly look at cleaning up your data if you want to. One of my biggest bugbears, I have to say, is when your heart rate comes from your watch. The optical sensor on the back of the watch is generally pretty good quality these days. I think some are still better than others. But my own feeling is that because of the bony nature of most people's wrists, also the tendons, the ligaments, the sort of hard surfaces that are just under the skin, then quite often the heart rate data from the watch is inaccurate because the optical sensor is sort of is bouncing off some different structures around the wrist, and therefore you tend to get often quite high heart rates based on the wrist measurement. Obviously, the chest strap is a lot more accurate, and nowadays the optical sensors that go further up your arm, either on the forearm or the upper arm, such as the Polar OH1, tend to be more accurate. And my gut feeling for that is probably just that it's a more fleshy area. Even on the skinniest of individuals, there's plenty of muscular tissue, fat tissue, and more prominent veins, bigger veins and arteries for them to take the measurements off. So yeah, just be careful with your heart rate data. Again, sometimes power meter can play up a little bit, whether it's related to the weather or other factors. So if you notice when you get back from a session that some of your data is inaccurate, then you can clean it up yourself, or you can obviously point it out to your coach. So if we just look at this, okay, so we'll just go into this. This wasn't a 5K session, by the way, so you can just ignore that. This was just me testing my bit of an Achilles injury out with a 30-minute run. So if we look here now, you can see we've got all the data in here. With the blue line is the temperature, so we'll just click on that and remove that. So we'll hide that. We've got the gradient at the back, which again, for the purpose of this, we don't really need, so I'll hide that. And again, yellow cadence, we can hide that. Okay, so we're left with pace in the green and the heart rate in the red. Now, again, this is running at sort of 435 per kilometre. And then as I was testing the Achilles out, I looked to progress a little bit quicker. And as we're going up here, we're finishing, just under 4 minutes per kilometre. So it's a progressive run starting within the middle of zone 2. So I would expect heart rate to be, about upper 130s, probably, maybe getting that region. So I think the heart rate trace here probably started reasonably well, but I did note that this was from a watch because as I was only testing the Achilles out, I wasn't really bothered about heart rate for this run. It was more just about stressing my lower leg and seeing how it reacted. But somewhere around here, it starts to elevate quite noticeably by, maybe 20 beats or so, 15, 20 beats. And then it stays elevated for quite a long time, even though my pace is very, very similar. And then it does start to come back down here. Again, 150 at this point, maybe that's accurate, maybe it's still a bit high. And again, then it seems to get quite high. My threshold run heart rate is probably about 160, 162 maybe. And so I'm right up near threshold, but yet my pace isn't. So again, because this was coming from the watch strap, I don't think it's particularly accurate. So if I wanted to clean this up, if I thought it was just this area, say from here to about here, that was inaccurate data and the rest was fairly accurate, I can highlight that, click on the BPM, and then we can go to fix. It gives us a little warning, do we really want to do it? But it will show us a preview. Click fix, And you can see what it's done now is it's taken the last known sort of accurate point here and here, and it's joined them with a straight line. So it's basically averaging it out, which in this case would have brought the heart rate average down for that. And then if we look at the metrics that would appear, they would be, you know, more accurate through doing that. So one option, if you've got little dropouts in heart rate or power data, you can simply highlight the start and end points of where you think that bad data is, and then just click fix for the appropriate one. You can do it for speed, you can do it for power on the bike, you can do it for heart rate. So that's one way to just fix small anomalies within the data, which will then clean it up a little bit. And then the other option is if you decided, so for this, I don't think, you know, there's much likelihood that that heart rate is very accurate at all. So I could delete it all, you know, again, we'd just go to BPM. We don't need to highlight anything this time, and we can just select delete. And again, confirm it there. And that will remove that whole heart rate trace for that activity. Once we then save it, so we apply, and then it will remove the heart rate totally from that. And then when we go back to the Training Peaks dashboard, we'll see that it's been removed. So sometimes it's better to have no data for a certain category rather than have poor quality data, particularly if we then look to make some assumptions or change training based on that. So again, just a little heads up on how you can look at doing that yourself. Otherwise, it's really, really ideal, as I didn't do there, to maybe turn your heart rate trace off from your watch. Don't let that optical sensor actually, you know, record the data in the first place. But hopefully that helps you with cleaning up some of your Training Peaks data. Good luck with the swimming, and we'll catch up again soon.